right?
Yep.
He said initially, let's not worry about the process upstream. So this is coming in through, let me just make this a little fatter. This is coming in through kind of the MLS process as it exists today.
Okay, so it
So
just gets there. We're not worrying about that right now.
we're not worrying about that right now. So I'm just going to throw this thing here and just say MLS process. That is something later, but we're not going to worry about that for this effort right now, okay?
Okay.
So as that comes through this MLS process, right, that's not our focus. But as this raw file comes through, there's going to be conversion. I'm going to call this background conversion process. This process is going to run in the background, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to take, like you explained well yesterday, it's going to take the data from here and create these other file formats. So it's going to take this data, and let me just create this here. Okay, so it goes into there, right?
Right.
And this guy spits out the different formats, right? This
Mm-hmm.
guy's running constantly, right? And we know that, when this thing comes in and it exists, it's going to go to one of these two things here, right?
Right.
So it's going to, this here is, is there a little text box there? No, okay. So that here is if it exists. Okay, right? So we know if it exists, it comes through here. Now, if it doesn't exist, right, it's going to go, this on-the-fly thing is actually, it's going to still fetch it from here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I want to draw an arrow there because it's not actually going to the raw format. My thought, and this is how I think you explained it, but I'm just going to draw it a little differently. I'm just going to say trigger process to convert photo ad hoc. It's going to call this guy, right?
Okay.
Right. So, which really is similar to what it's doing for the, and this guy is actually going to convert photo to large and thumb and pass back requested photo. Okay?
Okay. And for future reference, but we'll probably, the question is, do we do it now or just do it this way? Jeff had mentioned at one point that he wanted to be able to be dynamically various formats, in other words, but that might be more blue sky right now.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer of, if it's just like, here, I've given you a format, and then you're going to go ahead and pass that and figure out that format on the fly. I don't know
Okay.
what the answer to that is.
All right.
But so let's continue down here real quick, and then so let's just say make that red, and then I say, okay, so once I go through here, what that does is it's actually doing similar things, It's moving this raw to these formats here,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let me just move this over here like that.
So at this point, we've removed that logic from the widget. Let's give that thing a name. Okay, go ahead.
I don't know if this logic to trigger is on the widget, right?
Well, it is now. Maybe we should decouple that. the widget would be the one that verifies that it exists or not, and if not, so that way we can use the converter in other places.
Yeah, and this is a logical diagram, not a physical diagram that I'm drawing. So maybe, I wasn't implying that it's not on the widget
Okay.
because, maybe you're implying here that this right here. Okay, so we're implying that this right here. Let me show you.
Actually, what I was saying is you showed it separately, and I showed it as one. It might make more sense separately. But
okay, so I'm just going to put this here,
okay.
and I'm going to add this comment here. Maybe same process or separate. Okay?
Right.
We don't know. You can make it the same process. You can make this on the fly, actually have to trigger it in. Or you could just make this on the fly, get it, and say, I'm just going to make the decision of doing this or triggering another process to say, pass me back a photo. But when you pass me back that photo, I want it already cached.
Right.
This second process, all it does is actually just ad hocly is maybe it's a one-time call of this thing, and it's actually just passing back the same thing, but it just calls another procedure on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
It says, first thing, cache it. Next thing, do what I did before. Pass back the large photo. I just know that when I did the check, it didn't exist. You know what I mean? So it's almost like it's an override to that function of saying, hey, I'm going to do a check. If it doesn't exist, call this thing first, and then pass it back like you normally do. That's how I would do it.
Okay, actually, probably pass it back first, right, for performance?
Well, you always have to check. Oh, pass it back first, and then if there's nothing there, then call this process, and then call the same process that says pass it back first.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, if I'm hearing you right, so if we're talking about if it doesn't exist, we call that converter. The converter creates all those versions. Well, actually, no.
No. So here.
Okay.
So here, let me see if I can clear this up. One. Just say path in photo path. Okay.
Right.
2, right? Function determines that photo path is null, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does not exist. Okay. Okay, let me do these things. No photo cached, converted. Okay, so okay, passing the photo path. Function determines that photo path is not null, does not exist. Call procedure to trigger photo conversion. Okay, from raw format. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
4. Call same function that is in number 2. So here, let me change this. Get photo function. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Call get photo function. Call trigger or convert photo procedure.
Why does that look like a recursive call? A infinite call to me? Because you've got in one step you're going back to 2, but we're only dealing with one photo. Let's see.
If get photo function determines path is null.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's not. So here, this is, then do this. I mean, I'm pseudocoding here, but I mean, this is pretty much how I mean, you don't have to I mean, you're going to call a function and you're going to say, hey, yeah, did I get something back? Yes, I'm good. I'm done. I got a photo back. Here you go.
Yep.
I didn't get a photo back. We'll convert it. And now pass back to the function that returns back the photo.
I see.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay, photo converted already. I'm just modularizing so you can call this get photo thing and say, hey, did I get something back? No. Well, then do your work to put it there. Now call it again. This time it should work. If
sure.
it didn't work, then call it again.
Right. No,
Well,
that makes perfect
it's only going
sense.
to check once, but here, photo converted. So it's going to say pass photo path in, and this one will be easy, right?
Yep.
It's going to say the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If get photo return photo path, no, then pass back.
Right.
Is that photo path exist? I mean, okay, so this is not why these are two different. I'm just mocking up as I go, but the real thing that is important here is now there's HBM apps, right?
Yep.
There's legacy HBM UI. There's a lot of legacy applications out there.
Right.
What was clarified from Jeff is that those do not have to go through this image on the fly. So what we are fixing here for one UI, if those hit a photo here, right?
Yep.
That does not exist.
Uh-huh.
Too bad, so sad, you get nothing.
Okay.
That's not going to change at all.
Hey, interesting. Yep. Okay. That's fine.
The only thing he's saying is that this process in the background should help this, obviously, because now we got background conversion going. And if somebody happens to hit the same photo from this one, well, then it'll do this pre-population for you, this red line. But he's not willing to change all the different UIs to accommodate that.
Okay, so we're focusing on the one UI then.
We're still focusing on the one UI, but he's saying that whatever's made for that one UI will be leveraged just by the infrastructure of, hey, it's, that one UI is not gonna, does not exist. That one UI, if somebody happens to call that one UI, it's still gonna cache it, right?
Right.
And so when this other UI that doesn't do any caching, it'll be there from this guy.
That works. Yeah.
He may benefit from the other UI calling it. Okay, so does that make sense?
Yes, it does perfectly.
Okay, so here I drew your architecture drawing for you.
No, that's nice. The only reason I didn't do it in PowerPoint that night is my battery was dead on my notebook, and the adapter was sitting.
Yeah. No need. I'm just saying that I usually walk through things this way anyway. So
Okay, that's cool. So then the question becomes, do we use the image converter that I have and continue to get through some performance issues, or buy a third party? And
I don't know. I didn't look much into that one that I sent you.
Okay, I'll
I
look
just know
into
that there's some out there. I mean,
Yep.
that can be part of your recommendation and your proof of concept. I don't even know how costly it is or anything.
Okay.
I know of a colleague that has used that, and they say it works well. If the criteria become, hey, I want to pull different
Do you remember
dimensions, different dimension sizes on the fly,
Yeah.
that might actually have something to help.
Yeah, and the thing that I built does too.
Okay, so yeah, so
The other thing that I built, what it does pretty well is it doesn't matter the height width ratio on the incoming side. It makes the thumbnail look right on the destination.
yeah, and there's some, and you may want to loop in with Kevin and at least know from a photo standpoint the compliance frequency of, unless you're already aware of them, of altering images and stuff and cropping. I mean, you can't do that stuff.
Right.
Or extremely distorting the images. Because
just,
you want to.
Right, as long as it's square. Doesn't
Well, it's
matter.
not square. Just
No, what I mean is as long as they have, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to. It's like, oh, yep, I have a box that is 1,000. I have a widescreen thing, so just stretch it.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have to be the ones that answer that, but that might be something that's worth understanding too, is limitations on modifying, converting, and changing the dimensions.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I want to touch back on you.
Okay.
I would say if even though you're thinking of this changes a little bit, but I would say you still, from a logic standpoint, would want the logic built in the back end to say, here, this is how, even if this guy said, here, this is the image I want,
Mm-hmm.
that is sourced from when I build the page from the back end. The UI is not going to say, I know what image I want. I'm going to build that dynamically every single time. The API layer is going to say, here's a listing, and based on that listing, here's the photo path that you're going to have to call. So you're not changing anything on the UI side. The API is actually generating that. That way the UI can be dumb and say, yeah, all I need to do is call this URL. And then, then all that data, then if they really wanted to use it here, they could.
Right. So if we're doing that in this round, but don't get back to how does it know if that's an image tag sitting on a page that's making that call. It's just sitting there on a page, right?
Yeah, but the image tag is going to be coming back from when I call it listings, like it does today.
Yeah.
There's a JSON that comes back. It's an Angular app, right?
Yeah.
That JSON is that JSON with the URL that comes back is populated from the API. Today it's from a database in more strict format. Tomorrow it can be whatever logic, but the point is that logic is on the API determining it back, so the UI can then
but
render it.
How does, I guess, all right. I think I see what you're saying.
So.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, and so when it does try to render it and call it based on that format, if that render format, now I don't know how you put something between the on-the-fly image is kind of its own path, right? And that path is going to be able to know whether it exists or not.
Well, I mean, the way we're drawing this now, it doesn't know anything other than a file name. Is that correct?
I haven't built anything, so I'm not sure how So
No.
I mean.
No, I'm talking about the gallery side. So the
Gallery.
MPH UI that exists now, I haven't actually looked at it, but because I haven't got set up yet, I'm waiting for a virtual machine to actually start getting things set up. And if you see Jeff, ping him on that because I've asked him a few times. But in that application, and the thumbnails are really just an image tag, even though it's a AngularJS, SVA thing. It's still an image tag, right?
Yep, it's just an image tag, but the
source property.
Yeah.
So the source property is really going to send just a photo name.
Yeah. So are you saying that instead of sending a photo name, it would?
No, I'm saying that's exactly what it's going to send. That's all it's going to send,
But
right?
then, yeah. So it's going to be the same, right? Tomorrow, it's going to send a photo path, right?
Right. Okay.
And but then um, you have to hijack that path to see if it's a real photo or not a photo, right?
No, that's fine. But what we're
Valid.
talking about having stuff in different directories. So right now we're looking at just one set of large and thumb and so forth. But didn't we have a requirement where we would have the listing number and the property ID as part as a prefix to the photo name, so that we could break them in multiple directories? That was the
I,
complexity.
I I know we touched on it lightly, but
Because
I
that's
didn't talk in very much detail on that.
yeah. So that
So
was the thing. As a matter of fact, that's what hung us up. Is that it was getting it from the database. So this source that comes in for the to populate the image tag, it's not just a file name it needs, at least my understanding of the requirement, which you brought up yesterday actually, uh, that that could be in different directories because we don't have every single thumb in one directory. It'd be too much.
yeah, I guess I'm not at that level yet.
Okay.
I mean, you know,
So that's
so
where
I
the
think
real
that's
complication was because we don't
yeah,
have that information.
yeah. Once you get down to that level, that's a whole different thing. You know, um, I'm kind of on the side on this thing, So I think
Right.
that's more, yeah.
Okay.
Once you get to that level, I could probably review it, but I'm
Well, I
not at
mean,
that level of detail yet of trying to understand the actual path and how this thing works. It's just really conceptually, I wanted to just communicate
no,
from the
that's
enterprise standpoint. It's just the legacy apps that you don't have to worry about.
yeah, no, that's fine. I get that perfectly, and that's very close to what I was creating. But if you remember when we were sitting there, what you pointed out. So when you say you're not at this level, you're the one that pointed it out that that's not going to work because we have to prepend these source files with what folder they're going to be in, and they're going to be different because of volume. You're the one that mentioned that, and
Yeah,
that's
they
where
are.
I said, "Oh crap!"
Yeah, they are different.
So how does
So
that solve that? How does this solve that?
yeah, I know I brought up the concern. I'm not at the level of figuring out how to fix it yet. I guess I should
Okay,
say.
well I can build that. That's no problem.
Yeah, so
And
I haven't thought through that yet. So I mean, um, and I apologize. I do have to run here soon.
okay, no problem.
So
No, I
let
appreciate you getting with me on this, and I'll work on that one widget part. And then do need to address how we're going to support multiple directories. And I'll let you go for now then.
okay. All right. Thanks, Russ. I'll
Thank
send
you.
you this. Oh, I don't have your email. Can you Skype me your email?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
All right.
Okay,
Thanks.
take care.
Bye.